Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Les doy la bienvenida a un nuevo episodio del podcast de Mavi. Esta vez les traigo una entrevista con el músico Charles Cave, bajista de la banda de indie rock inglesa White Lies. Con él hablamos un poquito sobre el lanzamiento de su nuevo álbum llamado As I Try Not to Fall Apart y sobre los sentimientos y las sensaciones que plasmaron en estas nuevas canciones. También hablamos sobre lo que significa para ellos volver a las giras después de estar mucho tiempo parados a causa de la pandemia. Así que disfruten de esta entrevista con Charles de White Lies. Además, si les gustó el video, les pido que por favor le den un like, que se suscriban a mi canal y activen la campanita para enterarse de futuras publicaciones. También me pueden dejar un comentario diciéndome a quién les gustaría que entreviste en una futura edición de este podcast. Ahora sí, les dejo con la entrevista a Charles, que disfruten y muchísimas gracias por pasar por este canal.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, Charles. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Oh, sorry, my hugging my friend.
Well, hello again, then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm great. Thank you so much. And, well, thank you for taking this time and talk with Paraguay.
No problem. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I was thinking it's been so long since you released any new music, and here we are talking thanks to As I Try Not to Fall Apart. So, how do you feel about this sixth album and putting out new music? Because I always think it's like a whole new part of you, of your lives and your partner's life. So, how are you feeling right now with this?
Yeah, you're completely right. I think every time when I look back on the previous albums that we've released, I definitely see each one as a kind of a section of time, not just of our career, but of our of our growing up and becoming adults and everything like that. And it's like I kind of understand why Adele has been naming her albums, from her age, because it's important. Like
Yeah.
these records, they do represent where you're at that time in your life, and it's just and of course, not only is this sixth album for us, it was created at a time where we're older and wiser, perhaps, and whatever than the last one, but also, of course, we made it in an extremely different world setting,
Yes.
basically. And whilst I don't think we were at all influenced by the actual details of the pandemic or anything like that, just logistically and practically, of course, it changed the way you can do anything. It changes the way you can go to the shops, so it certainly changes the way you can make an album. But I think that even though, of course, there's still sort of uncertainty with what's going on at the moment, we feel like there are going to be a lot of people as well as us releasing music next year. And for me, the gesture is one of optimism and hope. And, to be honest, bands only release music really when they are planning to go and play live. Like that's just how it is now. So I think that even if you just look at it that way, it's very optimistic. People are putting out music because they do truly believe, they've been advised that next year will be better. And we'll be doing the things that we enjoy more and seeing with people and things like that. Yeah. So it's going to, we'll never make another album like this because it's, well, I hope we won't, because, I hope that this is a very unique situation.
Yeah.
So anyone who's made a record in the last 18 months, I think is going to appreciate that whatever the work is that they've done, it's unique. It's going to be very unique.
Yes, it is a whole new context because we've never been through this, a pandemic. And I was thinking, how was this process of, I don't know, did you plan on going to a specific direction? Or did you just, I don't know, wrote the songs without thinking on the direction? Because it was kind of like what we are going through. We don't know where the world is going to go.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. There's you could have, I think any musicians could have worked in different ways on how, depending on how they felt about what was going on. For me, I agree with you. It made me very, even though I certainly wasn't feeling carefree about the pandemic, but it actually made me feel more free with the music. And because Harry and I had to work separately a lot of the time, a lot of the songs that I wrote, in my head, of course, I was hoping that they could become White Lies songs, but I wasn't fixated on that. I was just like, well, this is a time for me to be writing music, and I'm just going to write whatever comes naturally. And I think because of that, there are moments on the record that are quite new and quite different sounding for the band. And even like the first track on the record, which is called Am I Really Gonna Die? Like, that's a song which I wrote on my own. And I know that, Harry was quite unsure about it for a long time. Even in the studio, it was kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right singing. It's very different from the way I would usually sing. But I think because of that, we've ended up with a record that is definitely pushing more boundaries than any of our ones previously. And there are definitely some songs, in fact, the songs that we worked on together, and especially with Ed Buller as well, like the new single I Don't Want to Go to Mars, I think has a lot of very classic White Lies elements to it. But some of the other ones, like the one I mentioned, and as I Try Not to Fall Apart, that was another one I wrote in my bedroom. Things like that wouldn't have, those songs wouldn't have happened if we were making an album in the way we have made the last 5. So for me, it's a positive thing. I think we're going to be releasing something that, of course, it sounds like White Lies, but it has, because of the situation, because of how we had to make it, it has also a lot of points of difference.
So how important was, I don't know how it was the workspace. I don't know if you work 50-50, like remotely and together. So I always think that the relation and the energy among your colleagues for being able to create, I don't know, without any borders is important. So how all of this changed?
It was very stressful, to be honest with you. Yeah, it wasn't easy at all. I mean, personally, I enjoy working alone. I have no problem working alone. And I actually, I just like to be kind of in my own little bubble, and just no one looking over my shoulder, no one kind of watching the clock or anything like that. So I enjoyed it. I don't think Harry enjoys it as much. I think he's more keen on sort of, collaborating and being in a room with other people, which I totally get as well. So yeah, it was really difficult. Really difficult to just make it work, to agree on things, to choose the right songs, to work on the songs, develop them together a bit. And it was kind of that we did 2 different recording sessions. And the first session was kind of tense in a way. I think Harry definitely felt out of his comfort zone, because some of the things that I had written were not what he's used to kind of singing for White Lies. So then we went back and worked with Ed Buller and wrote some more music. And then we did another recording session where we recorded songs like I Don't Want to Go to Mars, Breathe, Blue Drift. And I think, I enjoyed that too. I think Harry much more enjoyed that half of the recording. It was a bit more relaxed. But really looking back, I wouldn't change anything, because unfortunately sometimes you just have to struggle a bit, like to make good work. And like I said before, this is a very unique album because of the way it was made, and we won't work in this way again. I hope we won't need to. So I think our fans and everyone, needs to kind of look at this album in the space of time that it was made, and I think they'll really appreciate how daring it is in some moments, and the different kind of places we've tried to go with it.
Yes, it was like challenging for yourself and all of us this time.
It was challenging for everyone, like just in the same way as it was challenging, for parents that suddenly had to be looking after their kids at home, or people that had certain jobs that were suddenly compromised. It was challenging to make music, even though of course it's easier than ever to make music from your laptop at home. It's still, when you're trying to collaborate, work with other people and record things in a studio, like, yeah, everything was difficult. Everything has been difficult for 2 years pretty much.
Yeah. Well, again, talking about the album, you first revealed the song that also is naming the album, and you said about it, and I was reading, often the songs which come quickest are written from the gut and the heart, not with the head. And I think it is a super sincere song and very painful also. So from what emotions did you write this song?
I mean, I think we're noticing more and more over the years that people, and especially I would say young men, are opening up about mental health issues and difficulties, and it's becoming more acceptable to talk about that, and that's great. But I think that we need more than that. We need to be really working on our various governments, our various countries need to be working on support and systems put in place for people that are struggling and that feel like they're falling apart a lot of the time, because the world around us, regardless of the pandemic, it gets more complicated every year. Our lives get more complicated. They don't. I think we trick ourselves into thinking they get easier. But I was thinking, like, even when you think about things like how technology has changed, like, I don't know, like when I was a kid, if you wanted to like watch a movie that you didn't own, you would, like, my dad would take me and my brother down to the like Blockbusters or whatever, like the video shop. And yeah, okay, you would spend 10 minutes looking around and you'd choose one thing and you'd rent it, take it home and watch it. And that was kind of like it was kind of an easy thing. It was like, it was an easy process. And now with something like Netflix or whatever, we think that makes our life easier because we think, oh, it's great. I don't have to go to a shop and I have all this choice. But actually, it's stressful. Like, choosing things is stressful. I mean, that's one tiny example, I know, but a lot of this technology that I think is coming around, trying to pretend to us that it is making our lives easier, it's actually stressing us out. And I think that coming out of this pandemic, people are just now starting to realize that the mental health effects of the last 2 years especially are going to last a long time, and people are going to really need help. It's not just going to be like, oh great, I can go back to work, oh great, I can see my friends at the weekend and whatever. Like, it's going to take a long time. And I know that even in the UK there is already things. I was an article the other day saying that the NHS here they're prescribing like antidepressant medication less. They don't want to have to spend the money on giving lots of antidepressant medication. So they're asking people to, like, do mindfulness exercises more and things like that. And the trouble is that we are in a position now where we're trying to treat a problem that is already got quite serious. Like, if unfortunately, if you say to someone who's not feeling good, oh, have you tried meditation?
Just breathe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't help, but actually this is the thing, is things like meditation, it's actually better to do those things when you feel good, because otherwise it's not, we shouldn't be relying on those things to fix us. They are things to be doing, to maintain us. And it's a bit like, if you really hurt your body, someone saying, oh, you should stretch. It's like, well, no, it hurts to stretch now because I've already done some damage, anyway. So it is an important song for me. I feel very passionate about it, and it very much comes from the heart and from my own experience. And I think it's direct, and I think that, like you've said, people will know exactly what it's about, and I think a lot of people will feel the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, you talk about how are we living today. Also, the latest single, "I Don't Want to Go to Mars,"
Yeah.
was inspired by Elon Musk and the billionaire space race, and these things that the song questions, like the speed at which we are developing the world and what cost it takes on our well-being. So, what can we do about it, and how do you think it will affect us in the future if we don't do anything about it?
Um, I think it will be quite. This kind of thing will be very divisive, just
Mm-hmm.
in the same way as something like this vaccine has been very divisive. You know, there are people that feel passionately against it. I'm not saying I agree with that at all, but you know, this kind of thing, radical new ideas in medicine, in technology, in living, in transport, anything, they're going that, you know, we can't expect everyone to go like, great, sounds good. And I think it's, you know, the point of this song was really just like, okay, so let's just think about this for a minute. Developing a city or livable kind of, you know, areas on Mars, like, but what, and some people are like, oh, that would be cool. It's like, but would it be cool? Like, what would that actually consist of? Like, you would, it wouldn't it feel like you're basically living in a sort of shopping center or something, or an airport? Like, you can't just, you know, you wouldn't be able to just go for a walk like in the same way, like in the outdoors, feel the real natural air on your face, and
Yeah.
like all of this kind of thing. Like, do you really want to live in like a sort of a weird simulation? Like, it sounds horrible to me. I mean, like, even living in Dubai sounds like a nightmare to me. Like, so imagine what Mars will be like. um and so um it's interesting. I also noticed, like, because it's Christmas time at the moment, like my parents, I've been talking with my parents, and I was like, oh, you know, what do you guys want for Christmas? And they're asking me the same thing. And I've really noticed that a lot of people are just saying like, I don't really want anything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really need anything. Like, I think people are so much more thinking about like experience now, and
Mm-hmm.
and doing things that just make them feel better. Being with
Yeah.
family, being with friends, sharing good food, being outside, things like that's what people really want right now. And
Mm-hmm.
so we can keep, you know, developing all this new stuff, new products, new things that we're meant to own or whatever, or do. But actually, I do think it's kind of amazing how a lot of people will feel like just going for a walk with some friends somewhere beautiful is like, it's much better basically
Mm.
than I don't know, driving around in a cool electric car or something.
Yeah, yeah, because we are like in a, I always say it's a digital era where we live pending on our social media, likes, the algorithm on
Yeah,
Spotify, and all of this
yeah,
stuff, and how not to lose what connects us as human beings, or I don't know, how not to lose sensitivity, creativity, you as an artist, because we live like overstimulated and hyper connected.
yeah. I completely agree. It's worrying. And
Mm-hmm.
um you know, the way that the pandemic has been like presented to us as well has been, of course, like, don't worry, you can still do all of the stuff you need to do, you just have to do it on the computer. And it's like, no, that's not the same. Like, it's not
Yeah.
the same. And I you know, in my life, I have a few like habits that have been really, really helpful for me. Like, I go for a walk with I have a neighbor who's a very, very good friend, and we go for a walk every night at like 10 p.m. just around like the local area. We walk for about 45 minutes, and even that is like, I can feel it's so healthy. Like, just to walk when it's quiet and just to talk with a friend like in real life, it's so important. And if I didn't have that for the last year, I would be in a much worse place, I'm sure. um and you know, I'm very lucky in that, you know, I live with my girlfriend, and you know, we have each other's company, and we get, you know, we get on very, very well. And so that's good. But you know, people that have been living alone throughout this
Mhm.
pandemic, like my grandma has, um God, and just relying on Zoom and computers and stuff, it's really difficult, really, really
Yeah.
difficult. So I I'm gonna be positive about it and say that I think actually what will come out of this is there will be more people suddenly a bit resistant to the technology stuff. I think, in 2022, probably more people will delete their Instagram accounts than in
Mm-hmm.
2021. More people will leave Facebook, things like that. And because I think people will
Yeah.
suddenly I think we're all just kind of waking up a little bit and being like, no, like I kind of know now what makes me feel good. And it's like, it's going and seeing people and being with people. And after 2 years of just being on screens, like that has not made me feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So coming back to the album, how do you put all of this to the artistic side? Because you have also a dream team again with
Yeah.
Ed Bueller and Claudius Mittendorfer and producing and mixing. So how important is also an external vision and external ears for you?
Yeah, it's very important. Claudius and Ed are like kind of completely different.
Yeah.
And I think that Claudius was perfect for recording the first batch of songs because they were like more of the ones that I guess I had written on my own, and they were a little bit more crazy. And he was very good at just going with that and not worrying too much about like what White Lies is supposed to be or anything like that. He was just thinking about let's make some great music. Whereas Ed, because we've worked with him since day one,
Yeah.
he has a very invested emotional connection to the band. He thinks he knows what we should be and what we should sound like. And that's really useful too. And that's why we're able to come up with songs like I Don't Want to Go to Mars with him, because he helps steer us in a certain direction, towards things that we think will be kind of musically successful. So yeah, very, very different experience. And also Claudius is very quick. We would just work for like 3 weeks in a studio with, maybe it was 3 or 4 weeks in a studio with him. He works very quickly, very like gut decisions. Whereas Ed is really slow. I think Harry and I wrote in Ed's house for like 6 months or something. And we only wrote like 7 songs or 6 or 7 songs or something, and only recorded five of them, I think. So it's a very different process, but was good for this album to have to split it into those two different sections. I think we couldn't have done it all in either way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I think if we had, to be honest, I love Ed's a really good friend, and I think I've learned more about music from Ed than anyone else. But I do kind of think if this album had been 100% written and worked on with him, it wouldn't it would be missing songs like As I Try Not to Fall Apart and Am I Really Gonna Die and Roll December as well. Like he wouldn't have let those songs finish in the way that we finished them with Claudius, for sure.
Mm.
So I'm pleased. I think it worked out well, even though it was stressful and it took a long time. I think we did it in the right way.
Mm-hmm. So the album, we are going to have the album at February. How do you feel about this all this time and I don't know, anxiety, I guess?
It is exciting. Yeah, it's a very long. I mean, it's been a very long time to make it, and then it's a very long time to wait for it to come out. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit. And of course, it's intimidating because to be truthful, the most important thing for us is to go and play. Like we
Mm-hmm.
haven't played in so long, so
Yeah.
it's just so important that in March when we start touring, everything is
Yeah.
okay, and we can do that. We can go to Europe and go around the UK, because I'm not sure I could take it if we have to postpone it or something again. Like, but I think everyone's planning for that next year.
Yeah.
So I think by the spring we will, I think things will be more under control. So it is exciting. I'm just trying not to get too excited because like there's been a few things over the last 2 years, like some shows that we had booked that I was getting excited for. Like even I think in September we were meant to play like 4 shows in the Netherlands, and they had to get cancelled last minute because the Netherlands went into a lockdown again. And I was really upset about it. I was just like, I'd spent so many months looking forward to it, and then it just, suddenly it can't happen. So I just don't want to I don't want to get myself too hopeful, because I don't want to be disappointed. And we're dealing with something that is on such a crazy, unpredictable scale right now. We just have to take every day by day.
Totally. Yeah. Well, we have hope.
Yeah, and I hope we can come. I mean, we've been talking about South America for a long time and planning a trip. So I really hope we'll be there, as soon as possible as well.
Yeah, I think you were in Argentina, right?
I think that was the last time we were in South America, was in Argentina for a festival. Yeah, it's been a long time, so we're definitely overdue a visit. And yeah, I know that we're talking already about trying to plan a little tour, so that would be great.
Oh yeah. So what I think also, what a journey it has been since the release of To Lose My Life, and here we are talking about I don't know, a huge tour, the 6th album, and you're also going strong. You're 3 boys who have been cooped up far too long, and as you say on your Instagram, I saw, so besides music, how to keep such a long relationship?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I have to admit, the Harry and Jack, they live in the other side of London. They live in West London. So I don't see them as much as they see each other when we're not working, just because of a little bit of distance. Not really an excuse, but anyway, it's just how it is in London. So yeah, music has definitely really kept us together. And I'm not saying, of course, we'll be good friends forever, I'm sure. But it's been a wonderful thing to work with, such close friends for so many years. We grew up together as teenagers. And of course, sometimes it's difficult, you do have disagreements and whatever, but we were really good friends before we even formed a band. So the foundation was in the friendship. Yeah. I'm being told that I have to do another. I have to leave because I have another interview right now.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I have 4 interviews, and I've been strictly told I have to move to the next one.
No,
but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, and it was really a pleasure to talk to you. And I hope we will have you here in Paraguay someday.
Absolutely, yeah, I hope so too. Thanks so much. I'll speak to you again, I'm sure.
Thank you, Charles. Bye bye.
Bye. Have a nice day. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Gracias por llegar hasta el final de esta entrevista y no te olvides de suscribirte a mi canal. Si te gustó este video, dale like y hace clic en la campanita para que te notifique cuando publico nuevos videos.